Sir, yesterday being the 14th of September, the CUPP came up with a claim that the INEC voters register has been infiltrated and the foreign names, both dead people's names, were registered. And the governor of Imo State was accused of being the brain behind this. So here's the question. Is it possible for the INEC voters register to be compromised? And secondly, what are the systems that guarantee the integrity of the voters register?
Thank you very much. You see, this process of voters register and preparation towards election took almost 2 years for us to arrive at where we are now. There were proposals to National Assembly, public hearing and all that. Before we got to where we are, the law passed, the president signing the law, which has given some impetus to all this we are talking about now. But let me go straight to your question. After the registration of eligible voters, there is a system in INEC called the Automated Biometric Identification System, ABIS. That system is used to clean up the registration of persons whose names have gotten into the register, whose names were not supposed to be there ab initio. So where you have multiple registration, multiple and double registration, incomplete registration, and other reasons, in course of cleaning the register, those names will drop. On the other hand, if you had registered before, maybe you lost your voter's card. Instead of applying for another one, you decided to register again. Yes, you'll be captured. But during ABIS, your name will automatically be dropped by the system. ABIS guarantees that those whose names are in the voters register are those that are eligible to vote in an election. Assuming, based on the allegation of CUPP, assuming without considering that foreign names and dead persons' names got into the register, assuming without considering, which it goes to show that there is another system that register will pass through during an election. That one is called BVAS. BVAS is a system that will identify you that you are a properly registered voter. It will clear you before you vote. BVAS will clear you by biometrics and by facial contact. If you don't pass through BVAS, you cannot vote. Unlike in the past, where we use the card reader, it is possible that the card reader will not identify your biometrics. So we had what we call the incident forms, which will be given to you to vote once your name has been seen in the voters register. So it was possible then for you to vote with my voter's card, for him to vote with my voter's card, or for anybody to vote with any voter's card. That is where I would say that if anybody imported names into the voters register, it will not work because there are no incident forms anymore. You must appear before the BVAS machine. They must take your biometrics. They must take your facial. It must match. If it doesn't match, you will not vote. And that is the end of it. You must have heard that PVCs in bags, in cartons, in Ghana must go bags were dumped in the gutters and on the streets.
Yes, sir.
They were mopped up by some politicians, desperate politicians, thinking that the system has not changed, for them to distribute the PVCs to people who will now vote under the incidence forms. There are no more incident forms. And when they became aware that there is now BVAS that will checkmate all the excesses of politicians, they discovered that the PVC they mopped up for fraud has become toilet paper. So there was no reason to keep it in their homes. They threw them away and threw them into the gutters. I'm answering your question.
Yes, sir.
So, and I'm taking time to explain for ordinary man on the street to understand. When somebody tells you that a name has been important, that's okay. I won't say that. It's not important. You can have some INEC officials at the lower rank compromising such things. But those INEC officials that compromised, that collected huge sums to do such a thing, assuming it happened, did not tell you that there is a final check that you cannot vote. They say a name came from India, from Australia, from many places. That day, everybody will be on queue. You will appear before the machine. Your thumbprint will be there. And if those names came from overseas and that person's names, it is safe to conclude that they did not pass through biometrics. True of us? If they are strangers and dead people, of course they did not pass through the machine. On that day, assuming without considering, they appear with the PVC. By the time you put it, you see error. If there are security men around, they'll take them away. So it is not possible. BVAS, the system is so much tight. You know, Nigerians, we are very good, we are brilliant people. We can circumvent anything. And that was why I kept telling you, assuming without considering. And this thing I have explained to you now. Every party leader that have been attending meetings with INEC on this new system will tell you the same thing. Civil society organizations will tell you the same thing. Media will tell you, because at every stage, people were all invited and it was demonstrated. So that's why somebody like me, when the time I had that, I will laugh. Because we know what is the outcome. If you have dead person's names, listen to me, you have dead person's name in the register. You have people who are males, but they appear as females, vice versa. You have foreign names in the register. It is safe to conclude that they did not pass through biometrics. So if they did not, from the beginning, the PVC has become fake. And there's no way BVAS will accept it. It will not work. As to whether the governor is involved, I don't want to talk about that because it's left for the governor to explain that. But I must tell you that anybody trying to circumvent this system will be caught on election day. They also said that new polling units have been created. Yes, there was denormalization of constituencies. That was done almost a year ago. We used to be 120,000 polling units. Now we're about 170,000 polling units. New polling units were created across the country. But I don't know how you will manipulate a polling unit in a particular area. If you want to know the number of polling units now, go to INEC website. It's there. And by the time INEC cleanses the register, recall they have done one between the registration that was done between July last year and January. They have dropped about 1.1 million purported voters whose names were not supposed to be in the register. Those ones are gone. They are cleaning the system now from January to this July. I'm sure in the next few weeks, INEC will also clear that and certify the register. At the end of that, every political party will be given a soft copy of registered voters in each polling unit across the country. I can get that of many years here now, all the elections. So you can put it in your system and check. And it will also be pasted at every polling unit for everybody from that place to go and identify their names and no strange those so-called Indian names and American names in the list. I can assure you, based on the system we understand that has been demonstrated to all political parties, civil society, and media, it is difficult to accept that this system can be compromised.
Sorry to cut you short there. So, sir, from what you've said, there are new polling units that have been made available. These units
registered by INEC, yes.
They are registered
almost
by
a year now, and everybody is aware of the polling units.
So, why do we still have people complaining of inability to access these polling units, especially in the East? Why do we keep having?
You are talking about registration.
Yes,
you see, the problem is this, and that's why we are appealing if INEC can also have some extension. Nigerians like the last minute thing. There was a time you get to polling units, you will not see anybody. There was a time you see 1, 2 people. The officials will sit there morning till night. But say it's remaining 1 week, you see 1,500. We should stop behaving that way. We should do things normally. If you are talking about the East, I'm from the East. In the past, let me say since 1999, the Southeast has not been keen about your registration, about your voting, about who is voted for or not. And that is the truth. The average Southeasterner doesn't believe that government can do anything for him. He believes in himself. He struggles, he sweats. And that's why when you disturb him, he can behave like a madman. Because you are not doing anything to improve his life. You are not putting policies that will help him. He struggles to achieve his objectives and his expectations. Now you come to cut it short. So the Southeasterner, it is only of late, of recent, that they have piqued the interest to register. And that's why you have that large volume from there. It was going on very well until an extension was granted. They went back again. They had less than 1 week. They rushed again. Get out time. If you believe in the country and in the electoral process, get out time to go and register. And it is also important for people to know, particularly those in the business world, the traders and all that. Don't say, what will government do for me? One government policy, just one, will grind their business. Will get you even to beg. If you are the one that brings 100 containers in a month, one government policy will make you not to bring one. And I'm sure they have seen it in the past 6-7 years. So it is important for you to stop these egoistic comments that, what am I going to do? I'm not interested. Now they are the same. No. We must come collectively to salvage the system so that when you put government of your choice, policies will be put in place that will not only benefit you, but will benefit the entire country. So that is that aspect of registration. The case is in court. I don't know whether the court will direct INEC, but if we are not able to get people to register more, they should wait for the next registration.
That is about the court process? No,
the court process on getting INEC to register. Yeah. Okay, there was the other court process trying to stop BVAS.
Yeah.
You know, the CU people also showed a court's proceedings. I mean, okay. the documents.
Yes, they did.
Yes, that's okay, fine. But I think those people, without prejudice to what the court will say, BVAS has been put in the law. And INEC has been empowered to use BVAS. So I want to see the judge that will say, don't use BVAS, provided by INEC to do. Now let me hear that judge. BVAS is the cocoa in this election. BVAS is the cocoa in this election. And only one thing we stop the process. But if we continue with the process, whether you attempt to forge names into the system and all that, on the election day, all the political parties will be there with their agents. The system, everything will be cross-checked. People will queue to vote. By the time we start seeing Zazwaki and all those names, we'll try to find out. But I can tell you, there is no way such things will enter INEC system. Ask anybody that have been attending all these processes with INEC. He will speak the way I have spoken. It is tight. It is strong. BVAS is the finality. And I am not surprised why there's an attempt to go to court to stop it. But with the falsifications, no matter how many millions you put in the register, Abyss will sort it out, will throw it out. It will not work.
Thank you very much. That was very educating. Wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you very much.
So there you have it, my wonderful viewers. It's still the same talk about your PVC, your PVC. You need to get your PVC. Your vote, your better Nigeria is in your hand. So it's still me, Clement Christiana Munachimso of DMI TV. And with me here is the National Chairman of Zenith Labour Party, Barrister Dan Nwanyanwu. And thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.